Welcome to Other Worlds Oracles, a show where we build fictional worlds through designing fortune telling cards. I'm Autumn, and I seek rejuvenation from the cards. On today's show, we have invited the wonderful Vyn. And Vyn, what do you seek from the cards?
I think I'm seeking insight.
Insight. About anything specifically?
I think my second word was connection, so maybe insights on connections.
I like that. I like that. I think connections really bring us not just together, but like amplify all the resources we have and create this like circuit of just like exciting potential. So I think insight into that is very powerful. So I have a couple questions for you. What is your experience with world building and storytelling?
Well, I'm a voice actor, I'm a tabletop performer. Stories are everything. So I'm either participating or creating in that space. And I feel like I don't have like the literary vocabulary, but I have the vibes.
What do you mean by that?
As in, I'm not a very technical person. Everything I do is either like learned on my own or through like classes. I'm not an English major. I didn't go to school for acting, but I did take workshops and I do like ingest a lot of books and whatnot. So I know what things mean, but do I know the terms? Who's to say?
Like the bodily experience of it is so important. And that's a lot of thing that people like with technical experience don't even have. So it's,
So something like innate or learned or something.
yeah, just like,
Buzzwords.
yeah. Another question I have for you is, have you ever had your fortune read?
I have on like a general like friends who had tarot
Yeah.
or like maybe a mutual with commissions or something, but yeah, I guess the answer is yeah.
How did you feel about those? Some people it's really intimidating, some
uh
it's just like a really good time.
a little column A,
Yeah.
column B for the longest, I maybe like a year and a half or so. I would always see like the chariot.
Uh-huh.
And it got to the point where I wasn't even surprised anymore. I was like, oh, well, there she is. I know I have to keep moving. Can we move on from it? So other times I just like for the hell of it, like in some of my home games, we would all just like draw a single card for the session for our characters,
Yeah.
and then like wig out when we see it kind of come back into fruition.
So that's a common theme in your readings is this kind of like keep going aspect of it,
Hmm.
for sure. Well, I was wondering if you wanted to have a reading from one of our cards that we've made on the show.
Yeah, that'll be great.
So, what is a question you would like to ask this card?
Hmm. I don't think of nothing like too weird or too vague. I guess a general. What's the vibe for October?
What's the vibe for October? Okay, I like it. Okay, so what we have here is a card made by my friend Thomas, and it was called The Fire. So I'll describe what the
Hmm.
imagery kind of looks like. We haven't made these into official cards yet, so we're just kind of like going off of the descriptions we've come up with on the show. So it's a row of library bookshelves lead you ahead as you explore an abandoned stone building at night. Around the corner is something you would not ordinarily see in an unoccupied ruin, a lit fireplace. The light from the fire extends warmly out to you, beckoning you inward. Its light also reveals a couple subtle clues. First is a series of triangular runes lightly etched into the walls. The second, barely visible thanks to the light of the fire, is a trail of fresh footprints through the settled dust around them. Or perhaps it'd be more accurate to call them hoof prints, as they are cloven prints with the spacing of a bipedal creature's gait. So that's kind of the imagery of the card. We have some themes here of, and this is interesting because you mentioned the chariot earlier. This is almost the opposite of rest, perspective, observation, and slowing down. So the meaning we have written down is whatever challenge you are facing may need to be faced from a different angle. Take a step back rather than charging forward so that you can notice the fine details. Rest will give you a fresh perspective from a fresh set of eyes. You may not find your answers today, but taking your time will lead you to find the steps that will arrive at the answer.
That's crazy.
Why do you say that?
Um, I am currently juggling so many balls with so many irons in the fire,
Yeah.
and it has been like the colloquial, "Hey, you need to rest, or you need to slow down and take a break." So I was like, hmm,
Interesting.
guilty.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is encouraging to me how on point this deck has been so far. It even there was an episode recently where we switched mics and I was the guest and one of my friends was the host. And in that one, the card that we created read me so accurately. I was like, wow, this deck has heat. I'm excited. So yeah, that seems to be the vibe of October. It's getting some rest.
I will put
Well,
that in my calendar.
absolutely. We kind of do have to put it in the calendar or else it gets missed, doesn't it?
Truly.
All right. Well, would you like to design a card just like that one? Or very different from that one?
Yeah, I would love to stab somebody. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
it's be great.
Let's do it. The way this is going to work is that we are going to design a card similar to the ones in a tarot or oracle deck with three main characteristics: a setting, a main character called the arcana, and some kind of artifact called the symbol. We will draw cards with prompts and assign them to each characteristic, giving us a direction to start in. From there, we will build on each concept until we have fleshed out a story combining all three elements. We will then determine what the card will look like and what its meanings could be. Ready to get started?
Yes.
Awesome. So, we have our deck of cards here. Let's see if I can shuffle it with one hand. And we're just going to draw from that for our first card, which is, well, that's rather ominous. It's death.
Hey, let's go! Woo! Spooky!
I mean, it is the fall times, or at least we're getting close to that. So
Yeah.
there's lots of harvest and various kinds of ecological recycling going on right now. Uh,
Hmm.
where do we want to put death in this card? Is it going to be the setting, the arcana, or the symbol?
It's gotta be the Arcana.
It's got to be the arcana.
Like,
Death is the main character.
hmm.
It reminds me of this quote. I think it was from the Welcome to Night Vale writers, and they were saying, "Death is only the end of the story if you assume it's about you."
Yep. Yes. So
Okay,
solid.
absolutely. So we got Death as the arcana. Let's see what the next card will be. We have Copy,
Ooh.
and we have a little double rainbow here for the imagery.
Okay. That's fun already. Copy.
Do we want to make that the setting or the symbol?
I'm gonna go with my gut that says symbol.
Purity, and we have a little water drop.
Okay. All right.
So we have that as our setting.
These are some. Yeah.
And then I have one other question for you. We've discussed this beforehand, but the audience, this is the first time we've ever brought up this mechanic before, so the audience won't quite know what it means yet. Would you like to include the wild card as an optional rule?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So we have our three cards here. We have Purity as the setting, and then Death
Hmm.
as the arcana, and Copy as our symbol. Do we want to start with fleshing out the main character or the world, the Purity world?
I think. I think knowing the world will help me with the characters. So let's
That's what
purity.
people usually like to do that route, that order. But I just wanted to check because you seem to have a real close connection to the Arcana. So
I mean, aren't we all connected to death?
you're not wrong.
In a way, inescapable at the end, you know?
I feel like I had this experience with like death as a concept when I was in my 20s where I was like, oh yeah, it's like fun and spooky and interesting and like kind of like obviously I felt grief before, but like it's like a profound concept that's cool and all. And then I turned 30, and at a certain point I was just like, "Oh, this is hitting a lot closer to home these days."
Yeah, this is real. My parents are getting older. Let's
Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I feel more and more connected with death the older I get. But back to purity. What does that word bring to mind for you?
Honestly, the opposite. Like our knee jerk should be like with like purity culture and whatnot. I think like cleansing,
Yeah.
a place that is safe or refined,
Yeah.
like distilled water is what comes to me
Yeah.
first.
When you say distilled water, do you mean in the sense of it being very like clinical and very like devoid of like any kind of other thing besides water? Or do you mean that in a sense of like very clean, very refreshing, very like free of contaminants kind of thing?
Probably the process, like the intensity that has to come to it. Like you have to make the steam and like the heat and fire that comes with that. But
Yeah.
the outcome is that purity, free of like detritus and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Maybe the
Yeah.
process to become pure is what's bubbling.
Okay. Okay. So the process. What is a world that would include a process of purification? Can you think of any
Mm.
landmarks or history that would include that?
You know, I'm a hypocrite because I was like, well, not because of like the tyrannical purity, and that's where it kind of hammers me back to, like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not something that's peaceful or
Mm-hmm.
something that's like, and what is your definition of purity? Like, who gets to dictate what that means and what's the
Absolutely.
standard? So I'm like something almost like brutalist and like industrial or machine
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. And I could see that, leading into copy pretty interestingly too, as a
Yeah, like
symbol.
duplicates.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, duplicates. So
Yeah.
we'll get to that in a second. But what do we think would be a world where it's so easy to get jump back and forth here, but like staying
Yeah, yeah.
focused on the setting here of like what would be a world in which like everything is so defined strictly by purity and by like being this, is there like a homogeneity to this, or like everything's the
I
same?
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I want to just go back and forth between purity and copy because I feel like they're just vibrating against each
Tell
other.
me about that. What
Um,
do you see them interacting as?
Probably in like a futuristic
Okay.
sense, and like you're getting to that point where things are mechanical and can be made like the same thing over and over
Hmm.
again, and kind of bastardizing that pure quote unquote.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So we have this world in which things are duplicated over and over again to the same standard, it sounds like.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay. So if we have that going on, what does the copy look like? What is the pure standard?
By Fall Out Boy, I mean, uh, exclusive new track made by us. But I don't know. I just think like I'm seeing the stark white
Yeah.
machine belt, the product being made over and over to like the same professional standard,
Yeah.
the pure standard.
Right.
So clearly nothing good.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. So is it like when we're talking about these duplicates, are they like living beings or are they constructs or like machines?
hmm, I don't know. Of course, I see like a product or a thing. A construct would be fun,
Yeah.
like something like a blank canvas or like these kind of marionette type robots. Kind of like at the
Ooh.
not to be a nerd, but like the end of season 2 of Arcane and like Victor's
Yeah, yeah.
constructs and stuff. Yay! I was like, let me take this bit by bit so I don't not to get too far too fast.
Okay. Okay. So we have these I'll admit I have not fully finished Arcane yet, but I am roughly
Spoilers.
familiar.
Yeah.
But so we have these constructs, you say. Would you consider them to be alive?
I mean, they have to be because we have death front and center.
I was thinking that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So for the setting, are we like in the factory where this is being produced?
Hmm.
Okay. And then we have these duplicate living machines, is kind of what I'm hearing from you. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. How does death come into this?
I think death is coming as a disruption or a classic end to a cycle.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like death as in like the end of like something
Uh
static,
huh.
the rebirth of
Uh
creativity,
huh.
something like that. Like it's something that's bound to happen anyway. It is the end. So maybe like it's the end of burnout or the
Mm.
end of stress or something.
Okay.
Like you're coming out of it into whatever the afterlife of this is, quote unquote.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm thinking, in my big beautiful brain,
Tell me
more
about
or
it.
less like death holding production. Like they're facing down the big conveyor belt or something.
Yeah. Okay.
Like ready to
How are they
dismantle shit.
doing that? Yes. Yes.
um, I hate to run into these cliches, but I'm feeling like Ruby metal, like cool ass scythe style.
That's cool. That's cool. What are they doing with the scythe?
Slashing belts, taking down constructs. We were like peak battle formation
Ooh.
with like death and whatever grunge, dirty, or colorful against a stark white
Yeah.
machine.
No, I do like the idea of like a very kaleidoscopic like reaper.
Yeah.
What do you think death looks like?
I don't know. I think in like my head or this visual,
Yeah.
we see like the back of them. So it can be
Yeah.
any person,
Okay.
or just kind of blob or vague. So we know it's person shaped, but you can put anybody else in front.
Okay. So they're humanoid, but they're like covered by a shroud or something, some sort of loose clothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Got it. And we were saying potentially colorful. What kind of colorful? Like, are we talking tie dye or like natural staining of things or black as a compared to white or like what? How do we contrast it with this?
I'm thinking just eye bleeding, high saturation CYMK. Like your good old printer colors, just in your face, like breaking up the copy or the purity of something. Actually, this is all happening in my printer right now. Let me go get that page real quick. uh,
so
so good.
so are we talking like eye strain kinds of colors or are we talking like
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
Cyan, magenta, yellow, and then I can not remember what the K for black is, but that's what
Yeah.
we're going for.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So we have this intense, colorful shroud around this humanoid character with a scythe. What color is the scythe? Is it metal? Is it
Good
something more
question.
otherworldly?
I think that can be the most straightforward, just a
Is
metal.
it a light scythe?
It's bright enough, let's be real. I think metal would be like badass. Just
I
like,
think that's pretty cool. Yeah. So we have a metal scythe, and they're like in the, if we're like describing this as like a painting or something, are they like using the scythe to cut a belt, like you were saying?
mhm. Or like one of those constructs, or in that heat of battle, he's kind of gearing up or something.
We have this death arcana who is just raising havoc against this purity factory creating these constructs. What do the constructs look like? Like I'm picturing almost like four-legged
Uh,
drones, or like I don't know, but it could be something totally different.
yeah, I was picturing these kind of like opalescent marionette types,
Yes.
like obvious joints and everything, but stark white with a kind of rainbow oil slick sheen in like the
Yeah.
right light.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. And from the way we've kind of described this world, it sounds like this factory is just like spotless, very clinical. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so that makes sense. If we're looking at all this, this might be a good time to bring up the wild card. So,
Oh
for the audience, we talked about this a little bit in the last episode, but we haven't formalized the rules of it yet. In this cup, I have a bunch of glass beads. Some of them are red and some of them are clear. And what we're going to do is if the bead I pull out of this randomly is clear, then we will operate from the assumption that this card's canonical meaning is it's sort of like positive, optimistic angle. If we are draw the red bead, then we will be working from making the canonical meaning the inverted meaning. So in most cards, they have multiple meanings depending on whether you pull them right side up or upright, or upside down and inverted, right? So when we're working with this system, the upright character would be the like whatever we would normally associate with this. The inverted character of this card would be, let's look at it from a more cautious, preparatory, and otherwise perhaps a little bit foreboding angle. So if we're looking at that, we you still want to draw from the wild card?
yeah, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. Let's go. I'm ready for it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay, so what do we got? Oh, we got the red.
Okay, cool. Uh,
Or we could look at this purely from an angle of how do we make this a little bit more on the aggressive or proactive or less reassuring side of things.
oh, I got it. Like
Tell me
this is
about it.
perfect. I think with that frantic energy and putting it in like the antagonistic sense, it's the disruption of your
Yes.
routine, of your flow. The enemy is coming and the enemy is death, putting the end to whatever you
Okay.
have planned.
Okay.
So your flow is about to be disrupted. Your plans are gonna be like thrown off some kind of way, and a force that will affect you. So don't take it
Ooh,
lightly.
okay. So, what would you say if someone pulled this card? What would you tell them for advice?
To be prepared that some things are inevitable.
Like death. Okay.
Hmm.
So, and that is going to come and just kind of wreck your shit, or like what is what okay.
Yeah, it's getting kind of towery, but like it's the end.
So it's the end of how things are right now, which could be from a very
Yeah,
like comfortable, maybe predictable in the way that we've been thinking about purity sense. And then
yeah.
something's gonna come in and be like, nah. Okay.
Hmm.
I like that. I like that. What do you think are some possible themes of this card?
Hmm. I feel like we said disruption.
Yeah.
I don't want to say chaos because chaos is too heavy.
Chaos is a little heavy.
Maybe interference,
Okay.
like
Interference.
then yeah, like shake up some soft chaos words, like not necessarily the total destruction of something, but there is going to be a wrench in your gears,
Would
you
you say
know.
transformation, or is that too like generous?
I mean, I feel like that's the a good way to put it, like on your shoulder, hey, it's not that bad, like at least you got a
Yeah.
warning, like things are coming, brace
Okay.
yourself.
And so preparation is a theme then, like you had said before. Okay.
Yeah, and that's so good for the
Okay.
production part, like as in you kind of get that foresight within like the card
Uh-huh.
and everything. so you have a chance to fortify or at least not be surprised or caught
Uh
off
huh.
guard by it.
Yeah. What do you think? This is always the funny thing about doing a visual medium in a audio format, but
Yeah.
where do you see the arcana positioned in the image? Are they front and center? Are they like off in the distance? Is there a shadow of them? Like, how do you see them represented?
I in my mind palace, as Sherlock would say, I can see it kind of going in a diagonal. We're clearly seeing the viewers looking beyond, like over the Death Arcana's
Okay.
shoulder, and they're kind of phased out but clearly relevant. In the middle, or either like staring up at the machines being calibrated or
Uh
producing
huh.
these figures, and like as they kind of teeter off the conveyor belt, they are launching to attack. So we have like these dots of different constructs ready to bear down, and then we have Death braced and ready to fight.
Okay.
I went from Arcane to Ruby for some reason. I don't know. It's animation day. Well, when is it? Is it not? But
It's funny when you say that because I think of this like I almost want there to be like a moving sheen of across the metal of the scythe.
oh yeah, like the raised metal bit on the card printing.
Yeah. Okay. I think I'm starting to see this come together. Is there anything else that you would want to include and make sure is on the card? Like what's your hard line needs to be on the card?
I think the scythe
Of
first
course.
and foremost like has
Yeah.
to be there, and then like the purity, like the stark
Yeah.
white, and maybe the colors don't have to be as like big as I was talking about them, but at least kind of like splattered in places, like Splatoon. We got the ink everywhere and
Okay.
stuff.
So are you thinking like that's all over the factory on like a half of the factory versus like
Yeah,
I love the idea of Splatoon as like our inspiration for that because like that immediately conjures an image to my mind. So thank you for that description.
yeah. I and maybe like going
Yeah.
even further, like the constructs are made of these like Technicolor inks or blood, or that's their
Uh-huh.
function. Like you have that brilliance inside of you, just needs to be
Yeah.
destroyed.
Oh.
Clearly.
Oh, that's an interesting way. I'm definitely putting that in the meaning of the card.
yeah, yeah.
Writing that down. Dang. Okay. Damn. Okay, I like that. So that leads us to another question, which is what do we call this card?
oh, why is this the
It's really
hardest card?
hard. We can kind of toss things back and forth, so just whatever kind of like strikes you first, we can build off of that.
Yeah, because I don't want to. It's not necessarily like the destruction
Uh-huh.
or the desecration or demand or something, but it has to be a hard consonant.
Does it have to do with like revolution or
yeah, I think so because you have to challenge something for revolution. Something is defeated, whether good or bad, and there is change.
Mhm.
So,
Well, what do you think is a good word for that? Like it could be revolution, but it could be anything.
I mean, I think revolution
Okay.
like that. That's it. That's on the
It
10.
could be the revolution, the revolt, the yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you like revolution?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we have the Revolution. It's a card that you see this pristine factory creating these opalescent, perfect constructs that have been just broken wide open and splattered their rainbow guts all over this factory with this. I assume that the Reaper character here is kind of covered in that color.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What color are their clothes underneath that?
I mean, not to be edgy or anything,
Yeah.
but probably black.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got the black, white, and all the colors in between.
I like that a lot. Yeah. And that would contrast so heavily with this factory. So I love that. Okay, so we have this Reaper with their metal scythe just preparing to attack this next deployment of these constructs as they come off the production line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And anything else you would add? Because I think that sounds amazing already.
Yeah, that's
I
solid.
love that.
Like, yeah,
I think we have a card.
let's go. Hey.
Hey, awesome. Well, I'm
uh,
really excited. The revolution. I like it a lot. Are you happy with it?
Never would have thought that was wild. Oh, absolutely. I'm thrilled.
I'm glad. And it feels, shall we say, important right now.
Yeah. I think that's a great way to put it. Important. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, yeah, it's funny because as we've created this deck, like we keep coming up against like it seems like every single card at some point or another is about catastrophe, and I wonder why. um but
Yeah, I don't.
there's
Maybe it's in the air.
yeah, maybe. um and yet there's this like twinge of hope, and like to the point where I had to institute this wild card where I'm like, all right, everyone, we're being a little bit like optimistic about this.
Calm down. Yeah, chill out.
So I appreciate this Reaper coming in to the deck, and just like everyone looking at them being like, oh, hello. You're a little scary but cool. Okay, the revolution. Well, thank you so much for making that with me.
Well, thank you for having me. This has been so much fun.
Yeah, can I ask for one more thing? Well, three more things.
Yeah, totally.
Can I ask you to
Totally.
help me come up with three new cards to add to the prompt deck?
Hell yeah.
Okay, so what are three one-word vibes that you want to add to the making of this deck?
I got my three real. Oh, my headphone came out. So excited. River,
Okay,
bone,
okay.
and time.
River, bone, and time. Okay, I like it. River, bone,
Hell
and
yeah.
time. I always want to ask follow-up questions, but I feel like it's better if there aren't like definitions of what these mean going into it.
Okay.
If you want to share anything, feel free to, but like,
I'll give one because it is right in front of me. I have a little stack of 3D6s and they're made of buffalo bone.
whoa.
Like, I save them for my spooky games, namely like the Between and whatnot. So, yeah.
It's funny because I've been working on this project in my off time where I just write about different sources of probability, and I call a whole
Hmm.
category of it just bones. Because I think there's
Hey!
where I'm like,
Wow.
dice came from bones originally, which is why we call them rolling the bones. But like in this system that I was writing in, I was calling anything that is rolled but doesn't have numbers on it bones. And
Oh, cool.
like I take inspiration from like all the different ways that like bones have been used for divination throughout time, and I just think it's incredible that we look at these sources of like structure and shape of a life form and give that such like sacredness that we want to like use them to tell the future.
Hmm.
Like I think that's still, there's something really cool about that. Those dice look really cool is all I'm trying to say.
Hey!
Well, thanks again so much for coming on. Where can folks find you
Mhm.
and your work? Is there anything you'd like to plug?
Yes, always. Vynvox.com is my Bluesky and my website. So out of the two, you're gonna hear me yapping about things I'm in, things that my friends are in, or things I just enjoy. But more serious, I guess, Vynvox.com, like the actual website, is my demo reels, my resume, my studio specs, my contact if you want to get like in talks with me or my manager or agent. That's it. Like super straightforward.
Love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much again. I appreciate you and this wonderful card, the Revolution.
Thank you.
And that brings us to the end of our show. A huge thanks to our wonderful guests. You can find us at our usual places on your favorite podcatcher or at otherworldsoracles.podbean.com. Thanks for joining us. And remember that magic is creation and creation is magic. Take care.